Hi everybody, it's Kayjay from Metro Hobbies, and today we're taking a look at a tabletop gaming, specifically the Lost Ruins of Arnak. You have been searching for days to find this uncharted island and search the bird temple. Okay, so this board game here is a medium weight board game. It plays with 1 to 4 people, 1 to 4 players. That's right, it has a solo variant, and for every player you add about 30 minutes of playtime with it. It's suitable for about 12 plus, but definitely some 10-year-olds can give it a go. I wouldn't suggest that you would look at it unless you've played something at least like Catan first. Looking at this beautiful, beautiful board. You could get just lost in the artwork. It's such a gorgeous production by the Czech Games, or CGE as you call them. They also do things like code names, so they do a huge variety of different games, from party games to what we have here, which is a medium weight game. A bit of a spoiler, but this is definitely one of the top 10 games of 2021. The instructions that are laid out well. Not only are they laid out well, so I'll just give you a brief look at the instructions. So they've got all the iconography, they've got pictures as well as writing. They also include at the very beginning, because not everyone is a fan of reading rule books, and they understand that usually you want somebody to be teaching you, they also have a tutorial video that they've actually promoted for both the solo mode as well as the main game, and they're very, very good. It's really easy to learn the game that way. Now, I want to talk about what they have included in this game, because there's a couple of different mechanisms that you may be familiar with, things like deck building. So in order to do anything in this game, you need to play one of your cards. So you have a deck of cards that you have every turn or every round. You refresh that deck, or you shuffle it back and you get some new cards into that deck. Each card that you have usually has 2 actions. You either have the top action or bottom action. You can top actions. That one, for example, is going to let you explore, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. Just bear in mind, this is not a rules video. I'm not going to give you detailed rules. That's something for the video. I'll let the experts do that. They know the game far better than I do, but I know it fairly well. So I'm just going to give you a little brief. These are your main ones that you start with. You shuffle them. You draw 5 into your hand every time you start a round, and then you choose which ones you want to play. So I will just give you a basic action. There's a couple of different main actions you can do. You either can dig, which allows you to take one of your little guys from your little tent location, and you can place it on a location that's already being discovered. So all these locations have all been discovered. When you place a character here, I'm having to spend a boot. So I would have placed this character, played that card. That allows me to play a boot, place the meeple down, and that allows me to collect 2 of the stone tablets that I can then put into my resources. I am going to need those because I'm going to need them to spend to buy more cards, because it's a deck builder. Now, I love the kinds of cards that you can purchase here. So on the left hand side you have a selection of artifact cards. So you've been digging in an archaeological site, and of course you're collecting artifacts. To buy them you have to spend compasses, or in other words, time. So I like the thematic tie in there, and if you want an item like an aeroplane that might get you to the next dig site, you actually have to spend currency, or the funding the investors have given you, in order to actually get to the location in the first place. Now, there's another nice, interesting tie-in for thematics here. You will obviously notice there's a lot of text on these cards. They allow you to do different effects as you get them, which is why you want them added to the deck. But what I wanted to point out is that as the game goes, the staff moves across, and you get less items to dig with, and more artifacts to purchase as the rounds go and as the game progresses. And I like the tie-in thematics there, because obviously if you're digging at a site, you're bringing in less items in order to do the dig, and you're finding more artifacts. So the time progression of the game thematically is really, really nice. It works really well as a game mechanism in order to build your deck, because it's deck building. This part of the game is worker placement. So when you played a card that allows you to go to a site that's already discovered, you get the resources. That's your classic worker placement. There's also an action where you can do a discovery mode. So you can pay for here, for example, this is a level 1. You can play a boat. You can go here, you collect your little idol. That gives you a 1-time bonus, and then at the end gives you 3 points. What that means is that you then take your location tile, you have a new location that you can then dig at. And the first time you discover it, you do get the benefits, which is the coin and the arrows, and I'll show you those resources in a minute, because the resources in this game are gorgeous. You also have a guardian to face. So you've got worker placement, exploration, and now you have to overcome a battle. So you don't necessarily have to do it, but if you do, you will get 5 points at the end of the game, because each guardian you overcome, you'll get 5 points. And if you don't overcome the guardian, you're going to get a fear card when you return, because they're quite scary. Now, fear cards that give you -1 points, I'll point out. So the more fear cards in your deck that you're building, the less points you have at the end of the game. There is ways to exile cards. To overcome a guardian, it's really just about spending. So here you're spending a tablet, an arrow, and a boot, and that allows you to get that guardian. And you also get a boon, or an action that you get to play once throughout the entire game. This one has a lightning bolt, which means it can be played instantly. That particular icon, it's an exile icon. It means you could take, say, a fear card from your deck and exile it, so you don't have it in your deck anymore, which is quite cool. But yes, that's essentially what happens here. But there's more to this game. There's even a research track. So on the research track, you have to start with the magnifying glass. You're going out and searching, so you have to play as a main action to go up here. You have to pay the cost to get to the next level. So here you'd have to pay a ruby. If you get to where a tile is, you get a nice little compass. Your research book is also a research token that you can go up on, but you can only go up after you've done the exploring. Exploring, note-taking. Again, the thematic ties in this game is really great. There is obviously a lot going on in here, and I'll probably not try and teach you all the rules. There's bonus tiles. The way that this game scales from 1 to 4 players is brilliant. They use blocking tiles to cover up certain actions. Certain bonuses don't get covered up because they're for a 4-player game or a 3-player game. That really allows the game to scale well, because the scoring is different. The options are different for a 2-player game versus a 4-player game. You've got these great little research assistants that you can get as you go up the research track that allow you to get different little bonuses. So if you had this one, you could get an exile track. They also can be upgraded. So now she can give you an exile card as well as a compass. Again, that little lightning bolt just means it's an instant action. It won't cost you a main action. This one doesn't have a lightning bolt, so it becomes your main action. I just want to talk to you briefly about it, about the production. This is a beautiful, gorgeous production. Here are those arrowheads. So nice to get the little arrowheads when you're digging. You've got your red gems, which are beautiful. And we were talking about before the currencies. So you've got these nice little cardboard currencies, which is that's your compasses. Then you also have your coins, so your funding and the time that you have, and then your little tablets. And these are beautiful little, I think probably made out of something like polystone. They're really, really nice production. I really like the thematic tie-in of this game. It's a gorgeous production. Despite the fact that you can see that there's obviously a lot going on here, I think you'll find if you go through the video tutorial or even read the instructions that this is a very elegantly brought together group of mechanisms. There's deck building, worker placement, there's a track, and there's a little bit of a point salad system going on here. Thematically ties in well. Gorgeous, scales well. The fact that they're actually able to include a solo game that works nicely, that you'd be happy there trying to solve the puzzle to how to beat the solo mode. The solo mode also comes with, this is the solo mode table just here. This is how they play their action. They actually get all 6 meeples rather than just 2. You turn over the tile. That tells you that the solo mode is going to put a worker on a highest location that has the arrows on it, and it's going to be onto the right most of the board that's available. And by doing that, say if I'm placing it here, I can now no longer go there. So the solo mode acts the same way as another player would. It blocks your action. It races up the research track as one of its other actions. It goes up here first. So if it reaches, this is its little research token. If it gets here first to the very top, it's going to be getting 23 points. And you'll only get 21. So it functions very nicely as another player. It provides that same ability for you to solve the puzzle of how you can optimize your cards, optimize your resources, and allow you to get the points that you need to beat the other players, or in this case, the solo mode. I highly, highly recommend this game. It's a gorgeous production. It's actually fairly easy to learn, despite the fact that it's a medium weight game. And I think this has lasting power. I'm not the only one that thinks so. It's already appeared in the top 100 games of all time for People's Choice with the Dice Tower. People rave about this game. And there's a reason for it. So if you haven't already, check it out. Lost Ruins of Arnak. Links will be in the description below. And until next time, if you can imagine it, you can immerse yourself in it.